Okay, I think I'm live. I'm just out here doing a little bit of Memorial Day catfishing, and basically just want to test a couple things here on Streamyard with my setup and have the dual camera view going at the same time and see if we can't catch a fish or two. So let's have a little bit of fun for an hour or two and then go home and do a bit of a barbecue and enjoy the rest of the day. Let's see here. Oh, we've got one viewer. Hi there, Randy. Hey, Fishing with Bacon. How's it going today? Hope you're enjoying your Memorial Day and it's a peaceful one. It's pretty peaceful out here. It's a bit of an impromptu live. I was actually just recording normally, and I wanted to do a bit of testing. As you can see, I've got the two camera angles. So I've got the one from the front there, and then obviously the drone shot. But I wanted to do both at the same time so you can see what that looks like all at once without having to switch between them. So I think that's pretty cool. I've got some good bait out there. I've got two little live sunfish out in the front rods, and then I caught a big bluegill earlier, ready to chop the head off. So this back rod's got a bluegill head, and I've only got 3 rods out. The plan was actually just to come out and get some footage and record some stuff for a video I'm making. But then I decided, hey, let's just at least try catch a fish and then see what we can get. I'm still convinced that this little spot that I'm in with the trees here holds some flatheads, so that's the reason why the 2 live baits are down there. We've got 3 people watching already. That's pretty cool. Thank you for joining. Like I said, it's just an impromptu live stream. It wasn't planned. I had everything set up and I had the other stuff that I have to do for the live streaming stuff with me. So I thought, let me just get it all hooked up and running. And I don't think anyone else is live today. If someone in the comments can confirm that, but I think I might be the only one, unless somebody planned to go live later. It was nice and cool and overcast earlier, and there was even a bit of a spray of drizzle. It was nice and refreshing, but now the sun's peeking through there at the top, and it's actually burning my skin already. Randy's saying he hasn't seen anyone yet. Okay, cool. So maybe the only entertainment on the water for now, at least. Now this front rod over here, as soon as I dropped that little live bait down, he's only about that big. As soon as I dropped it down, my fingers were on the line, and I felt the line like jerk quite aggressively. So I think a bass or something hit it on its way down. Hey, Wabash Nate, how's it going this morning? What is it? Oh, it's still morning. Okay, it's 10 a.m. Central. My plan is to be out here till just before midday, unless I start catching a ton of fish and I endure through getting a sunburn. We'll see what happens. Talking about the sun and getting hot, I need to drink some water. Yeah, the main lake's already full of jet skiers and pleasure boaters, so I endured a little bit of that earlier this morning and then decided it's not for me. And I've come to my very peaceful and quiet little spot here that nobody comes to. It's a sort of my own private little catfishing haven. So Randy's asking how I do both angles up on the screen at the same time. So it's a very good question. I've got a sort of unique setup that I've got going on here with 2 different action cameras and a setup that I've actually built here. If you see my arm pointing to the back of my cooler here, there's a little box. And the reason I'm doing this live stream now is just to get a bit of footage for a video I'm doing to show how I've done that. So stay tuned for that one. It's probably 70% done. I just need to get like B-roll and stuff to lay over that. But that video will show exactly what I've done, how I've set it up, the reasons why I've done it. And obviously you can see it's pretty cool with the multi-angles. I can do another angle as well. So on Palmero Katz's stream the other day for the Whisker Derby, I had a phone mounted here on the front, here by my PFD, like a chest cam kind of thing. And then I had that one as an additional camera into the system that I could switch to as well to do like a POV or point of view. So right now I'm doing, like, as you can see, I'm doing the main camera from the front. I've got this drone view one, but then I might change it up and sort of maybe put this one out at a different angle at some stage. I could maybe even try now already. Let's see what that looks like. So using this rod holder here, I could probably go out that way, but that camera's pointing up right now. So then you get a completely different perspective. So that's also pretty cool, actually. Hey, welcome in, Dustin. Yeah, I know you do. You actually, in the video that I'm making to show all the stuff, you make a little bit of a cameo appearance there from the other night. So you'll be in my video together with Stan. So let's ask the chat there. Which view do you prefer? Do you prefer this one from far out, or do you prefer it from up ahead? I think this one's also pretty cool. Now, probably what I'll do is switch between them from time to time. Oh, then the other thing is, you probably notice I'm talking straight to the screen. I don't have a phone or anything, or I'm not going up to a phone up at the front there to read comments. So basically, everything that you're seeing and I'm seeing on Streamyard is on my Lowrance fish finder here. So that's got a HDMI import, and then my system basically feeds into there. And I see Streamyard as if it was on the computer. The only problem with it is I don't have touchscreen on this. So there's no like touchscreen feedback back to the PC to like highlight a comment and those sort of things. So I've got a little, and I'll show again in the video, obviously, the way that I interact with this to change the angles and stuff. And if I wanted to highlight a comment, I could do that. But at least for now, the way that this works is that I can read the comments straight there. It's clear as day and super easy to interact. Dustin's asking if I'm using GoPros for the cameras. No, they are action cameras, Dustin. They DJI cameras, the action cameras, and it's the latest ones, the Action 4. So I used to have the DJI Action 1s, which served me really well for the time that I had them. But the Action 4s came out pretty recently, and I decided, coming back to YouTube and stuff, and I do a lot of video type content for work as well, editing, video recording for industrial type stuff. So I thought, let me get myself new cameras anyway. And then the cool thing with these was when you plug in the USB-C cable, it obviously charges it, but at the same time, you can choose for it to be a webcam. So you just push webcam on the screen, and then it comes through like this to a computer. So it's super versatile. You can record with it, you can live stream with it, you can do sort of anything you want to do. I don't know if GoPros, I don't know, I'm not a GoPro fan by any means. Firstly, they overheat quite easily, where these DJI cameras can mission through the whole day. I'm here in Texas, the sun's super hot, and I've never had an issue with them shutting down. So that's one issue I've at least heard about with GoPros, because I don't have experience with them. I think the last one I had was the GoPro Hero 3 way back like 10 years ago. And then the other issue, well, I don't know if it's an issue, but I wonder, and I don't know if they do like the plug and play webcam thing, which would help to do this. So if you do have a later version GoPro and you want to try it out, just plug it into your computer and then see if you can choose webcam. And then what I've done here is possible with what you have. Wabash Nate says, way too fancy, and Randy's saying out of budget. Not necessarily. Again, like if you have action cameras already that can do webcam stuff, that's a bonus. The fact that you might have it. The chest view cam that I do sometimes. I actually have it here. I might put it on just now just to show you. But that one is an old phone. So it's just an old Android phone from 2018 that I had laying around in the drawer at home. And that one's fed into the system as a virtual camera. So it's just an app. I think I paid $5 for the pro version of the app. And then it comes in as a virtual camera, and there's your camera. You could mount that phone on a mount as well and use it that way. So you don't necessarily have to have a action cam to do this. You could use an old phone and do it differently. So there's ways around it, and depending on budget, people can work it out. Randy's asking me what kind of Lowrance do I have. So this is the Lowrance HDS Live. So yes, it is an expensive one, and it's a 12-inch one as well. So it's a very big display, and that's why it's easy to see. The main reason I got it was for the side scan, because I didn't have a side scan transducer before, or even the unit. So I just had a normal down imaging Hummingbird. I think that was the Hummingbird. What are they called? It was a 7-inch one. I can't remember what the name is or the model. But yeah, I invested in this one just so I could have a really big screen to see the side imaging and start fishing that way and get more used to that. But then when I noticed it had the HDMI port, I started having other ideas, and this is what it led to. Babashnate says, my thing is getting all working together. Yeah, that's probably the bigger challenge. Like, you can buy everything you want to buy, but then obviously you need to know, or have an idea at least, of how you want to do it. I think my benefit with that is I've been playing with computers since I was 6 years old. So back in the 80s, my mom had a old XT80 computer, like one of the first ones that came out. So I was such a nerd, reading DOS books and learning computer stuff from scratch, and it just stuck with me ever since. So anything computer related or needing to be connected via cables or wirelessly, I totally nerd out on that, and that's sort of my thing. Okay, so this one, I'm going to put this back as a top view. It's pretty cool that it's on the pole like this, so I can easily also turn it to show other stuff. So if I had the fourth rod out, I could probably go out that way. But the best view that I have, at least for now, is almost the 3 rods. I think that back rod tip isn't completely in the picture, but it's not a big deal. And we've got 5 awesome people watching. Thank you for coming in. I know it was an impromptu Memorial Day quick live stream here. Hey, Chris, welcome in. Happy Memorial Day to you too. Hope it's a peaceful one and all is well. Chris, I have not had any luck so far. The first Call of Duty was getting bait. So I was trying my net for a little bit. I bought a new net yesterday because my old one, the bottom lead lines and stuff were all messed up and broken from hooking trees and rocks a couple of times, so they snapped off. And I had, the other night when I was fishing for bait, a couple of fish actually escaped out the bottom of the net. So just quickly went to Walmart last night and got a new 5-foot net, which I find to be sort of the best middle ground length to throw from a kayak. I'm still learning to throw it nicely from the kayak and get a full spread, but I reckon I get about 90% of a spread, and that's good enough to get bait at least. So I first did that, got a nice big size bluegill and a couple of smaller ones. So those little ones are out on the front rods as live bait right now, and then the bluegill head is out here on the back one. So the last flathead I caught was actually midday, more than a year ago. No, it was almost 2 years ago, to be honest. Sure, it's a long time. But yeah, last flathead was at midday. So I'm always optimistic that I could catch a flathead at midday. I haven't caught many flatheads, but of the, let's say, 6 that I've caught, I think only one of them was at nighttime. All the other 5 were during the daytime. So because I'm actually capturing footage here for myself for the video as well, let me just show you. So I can do, so the normal way that you would do StreamYard from home. So I can switch myself to solo view like that on that camera, or let's see. Go back to the dual view that way. That puts myself on full screen. Yeah, but that's pretty cool. I think, well, not that I think, I know that when I'm on my own channel, I can do it like this. So the second view is actually a new feature of StreamYard. It's not that old, where you can actually have a second camera as an add-in to the stream. But if I'm on someone else's stream, like the tournaments that we're busy doing, then I can't do this because I'm not the host. Like, it's somebody else's channel, right? So the only way to switch between cameras then is to actually physically go in the settings and then say, okay, I want the front view, or I want to switch to the other one, whatever. Chris says, Regan from Fatties says, last time I tried throwing net in my kayak, I ended up making a better pancake in the water than the net. So did you fall face first like a pancake, or how was it? Yeah, I'm not throwing. Sometimes I'll throw a good pancake kind of throw, because I also do the quickfire method that Josh from the Weekend Angler showed in his video years ago. So that method's been, it's by far the easiest way to throw a net, especially for the smaller ones. And I even go as far as not folding the net over the arm, and sometimes just have it full length, pick up the lead lines in the front, grab the bottom one, have it sort of opened out, and then throw it as sort of a completely open net already. That's a bit more challenging on the kayak because obviously there's stuff for it to get hooked and snagged on. But if I'm from the bank, that's by far the easiest way to get it out there as quick as possible and get as many throws in as possible too. Chris says he did a full belly flop. Nice. Oh, the other cool thing I want to try here is for those that like to also record their fishing and not just do live streaming. What I'm doing here is the recording as well. So it's recording the stream in StreamYard at the same time onto the computer. And I want to see if it actually does like separate files for the two videos or the two camera feeds. And if that's the case, then it's going to be super easy afterwards to go back and actually edit and make a video, like a recorded video from the live stream, and not capture it from the maybe grainy footage, or if there was like signal problems and those sort of things. So it'll be the direct camera input to the system. I'm going to spin the kayak around and just try a little bit of a different angle here for my rods, because I've been in this spot for more than 30 minutes already. It's not really doing anything. Yeah, kitty, kitty. It's a little bit risky doing this because there's obviously submerged branches and timber and stuff. So I'm busy suspending it right over that junk and completely risking getting snagged and hung up here. But if you don't risk it, you'll never know. Maybe moving a little bit quickly. Oh, I'm snagged. Well, that's what we're working with. So even though he got hooked up, he's been down there for maybe 45 minutes already, and he's doing pretty well. Don't get stuck. Actually, we'll maybe put it right there and or have these rods or these lines hanging directly down by the tree here. Don't back up into the branch. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, no. And the other cool thing is I can still switch back from the video here that I see of the stream to my fish finder. And then I can see what's going on. So I'm in 6.4, 6.5 feet of water. And the water temperature is like hot coffee. It's 87.2 degrees. Ridiculous. So I actually don't know when these fish started spawning. Dustin's saying, yeah, you're telling your wife that you want to figure out the camera angles and show the takedown and better view than my backside while fishing. Well, once when I do show it and put the video out, the good thing is that doing this is easier on a boat or from the bank than doing it on a kayak. The kayak, there was a bit of figuring things out and making sure I don't mess it up while out on the water. But when you're on a boat, there's a lot more space to work with. And obviously on the bank, you can use umbrellas, you can use a whole bunch of different things to keep it out of the rain. So there's ways to do things. So whatever I've done here, if you're not doing it on a kayak, it's probably going to be easier. I'll take one fish. Just one. I've never been skunked on this lake, and today's not going to be or hopefully not going to be the start of that. So maybe a good time to check this one and see if this little live bait is still there. Is he alive? Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Randy, I also like the drone view. Also, as opposed to the chest cam that I used to wear back when I was still making my older videos on the old channel. Because then it's sort of like you have to turn it all the time and make sure that it's still working and you haven't like bumped the record button by accident. And then you just got to manage it too much. Where this, you sort of just put it up there, leave it, and whatever happens, happens, and just edit it and cut the video nicely. And because it's 4K, it can obviously crop in and still get a good resolution. And if I want to see that rod, for example, or what's happening maybe with a fish being fought right here, can zoom in a little bit or crop in a bit and see that fish in a bit more detail. And then bring it on board, switch the front camera, show the fish, say blah, blah, blah. It's getting hot. And when the sun shines through the clouds, you can feel it burning. And the other cool thing with using Streamyard this way and not having it on the phone is that you can do the noise reduction tick box or like toggle in Streamyard as well. So even though I've got my DJI mic, which has good audio as it is with the dead cat and all those kind of things, there's like an AI thing in Streamyard that cuts out like traffic noise, which you might not hear. There's a highway right here, so there's cars buzzing up and down. But then what it's really good at is sort of keeping the birds and the nature and stuff. So even though the cars are cut out, you might still hear that there's birds chirping in the trees at the back, or maybe not. But I assume that that's what you might be able to hear. So it sort of understands what's noise and what's natural. Right now, there's absolutely no wind. That flag down there is completely draped down. It's dead as a doornail out here. So I'm going to use the motor and just drag the baits very slowly. We'll go in that direction to shallower water and just see what takes or what bites along the way. There's a turtle there. Maybe you saw that. Randy says, right now we are hearing nothing but you. Okay. You should still hear like splashing stuff. So if I did that, you'd probably hear that still. So this is the area where I finished the tournament the other night on the Midnight Madness, because it was just a little bit calm out here and I wasn't getting any action on my usual spot. My usual spot's sort of middle of the lake and there's a submerged bridge that I like to suspend over. But today, obviously, there's all the jet skis and pleasure boaters out there, so it's a bit of a nightmare situation. And the jet skiers are all just doing donuts and doing circles and just churning the water into a whirlpool. And Randy's asking, how did I do the other night? So I did okay. The bites I think it's just super slow all around, except for catch fish with us that are up in let's say that again, up on Sandusky Bay. And they caught like 40 something fish. I caught 3 or 4. The one was just over 10 pounds and the others were little 2 to 3 pound fish. But yeah, it was a much slower bite than what I would normally have. I expected a lot more smaller fish. But I think I came 11th overall. And then I'll probably skip the bumping tournament, simply because the place that I would like to go bump, I don't think has signal to stream, so that's not going to work. And then I'll probably have to skip the chicken one as well, because I have a in-person kayak tournament north of Dallas on that day. And I'm not going to, firstly, I don't know what the signal's like there. And secondly, I'm not going to be just using chicken, so I'm not going to be able to take part in that. But then all the other ones I should be good to go. And then in the meantime, like other weekends and some nights, maybe during the week, go to other spots and test out signal and those sort of things. So I'm not limiting myself just to fishing my home lake here. The beauty of it is that there's just 5G everywhere. I think we're in really shallow water right now. Let's see. This is, no, still the same, 6 foot. Nate is saying it's cloudy, cold, and windy here or there. I would take that today. It is predicted to get to actual temperature today of 95 and like heat index temperature of 110. So choose which one you would like. And humidity of, I don't know, 80%. I'll tell you what, though, I lived almost 8 years in the Middle East for work before coming to the US, and there's nothing like the humidity there. It was ridiculous. Heat indexes of 130, 140. Hey, welcome in, Mike Chavez. he says very cool orientation. Yeah, this is my little dual screen or dual camera view that I'm just testing out because I haven't done it this way yet. The normal way has been switching between the camera angles, but because this is my own live stream and my own Streamyard account, I'm able to put the two up at the same time. Mike, I need to go back and watch some of your videos. I'll be honest, I haven't really watched much like cooking / barbecue style videos, but the whole year that I wasn't fishing and that I was sort of off the water, I got into smoking brisket and doing pulled pork and ribs and all that kind of stuff. So I got pretty good at that. Made my own way of doing it, doing the Texan style as well. I'm definitely going to go back and have a look at some of the stuff that you've done and try it for myself and see what I can do there. Pick that up as a second hobby. So, Mike, this is Lake Conroe, about 40 or 50 miles north of Houston. I live pretty nearby to here. I come out here often because I have a storage unit sort of nearby as well where I can launch pretty easily from. And they have a boat ramp and boat launch sort of set up. And then obviously I come out here for the signal. It's pretty good. And the catfishing is not too bad. What I would like to do is head up on the north side of the lake. So I need to still actually make a plan, figure out, do a bit of research, where the better spots are, where I can launch from, those sort of things, because going out there with the electric motor is just I'm not gonna make it. Battery's gonna die before I get that far out. It's sort of, I don't know, it's like maybe 12 miles or something. So that's not gonna work. I could always put my Honda motor on the back and use it that way, which I probably might try. But I think there's big catfish out here. I've seen, people don't really target them. It's more of a crappie and bass lake. I think it's quite a famous lake for those. But I've seen photos from years ago where people caught 60, 70-pound blues, 50, 60-pound flatheads as well. So they're here. I just need to figure out sort of where they are and find maybe head out to the main river channel, those sort of things, and find the real structure where they might be hanging out. And then something else I want to try, especially in this spot where I'm heading towards now, where it's like 1 foot. And the other day I caught, just as the Whisker Derby was ending, and Kevin was actually closing out the stream and saying his thank yous and whatever. I caught a 25 or something pounder at that moment. And that was in 1 foot of water over there. So what I'm going to do is use a South African method for catfish. So it's called a popping method. So basically what they do is they have this like a big popper that sort of chugs along on the top of the water, and then suspended from that's a crankbait that hangs. So it's got the loop for the line at the top of the lure. So it will hang directly underneath that popper. And then in the shallow water, sort of make a bit of a noise, have those, hopefully, flatheads come and see what all the commotion's about. And when they get there, they see that crankbait hanging there and maybe doing a bit of a movement, and then do a bit of a reaction strike. And that's how they catch what they call barbels, or the African sharp-tooth catfish. And they absolutely nail those crankbaits that way with the popper style. So who knows? I'm going to experiment and try it out, and if it works, that's going to be a pretty fun way to catch a catfish. Morning. Here's my shade. It should be getting shallower anytime soon. Okay, it's dropped what's come up a foot. So it's now 5.5 feet from 6.5. And it's just going to get shallower and shallower as we get to those over there. Like I said, it goes to about a foot. And because my leaders are more than a foot, I'm probably going to have the baits floating up on the surface. I'm just checking on the YouTube stream there to see how it looks. Looks pretty good. We've still got 5 awesome people watching. Thank you for sticking around. We have not caught anything yet. And I don't know if I'm going to spend too much more time out here, but I might give it another hour. That'll take me to midday and then head home and cook some lunch. I'm actually surprised I haven't even had a proper bite yet, takedown. The only one was earlier when I first dropped this live bait here on the right-hand side rod in the front. As soon as it went down, it got a hit from what I think was a bass. But since then, it's been super, super quiet. Okay, let's try something here. So while we're waiting for the fish to play along, we'll do the chest cam view as well. So if you missed it earlier, what I was saying is I basically just use this like necklace thing. So this is from Ulanzi, and it's not going to work because the phone holder I was actually using last night to record some other stuff. So the phone would go in there like that, and then around the neck, and then I would use it to show. But I can still connect it and then just use it by hand and show you how the camera comes through. All right, so now this phone's connected to Streamyard as well, and all I have to do is switch to the camera and you'll be able to see it. Hello. Well, that didn't work as planned. It sort of froze up for some reason. Let's try again. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why the phone itself froze up there, but yeah, so that will go on the chest like that with that necklace thing, and then I can do the point of view shot. Seeming a little bit sticky right now for some reason. I think the Wi-Fi is not the fullest signal between the phone and the PC, but anyway, that's sort of how it looks. So now you can see how that camera pole works. And that is not actually a camera pole. Everyone should be familiar with that. That's the Conpex light pole. So I bought 2 Conpex lights recently because the other ones I dismantled and made some other project with that, stupidly actually. So I bought 2 new ones, and obviously the one pole is for the light itself when I use it at nighttime, and now I decided to just temporarily use the second pole as this camera pole. It works pretty well. And then that's how we see everything there. And then obviously, like I said, I can switch between the different views. So there's my side scan, for example. Everything else, I'll just go back to video. Yeah, I don't know why it's a bit choppy today. It's normally not like that. Come on. I'm going to try and make something happen here. Something happening on this one. think what's going on here is it's a shallow creek bed. So this is called, I think it's called Martin Creek or something like that. But it's pretty shallow. It's 6 foot in the bed itself, and then it sort of spreads out into a bit of a shallow shelf on the sides. So right now I'm sort of in the creek channel. I don't know if there's something there, or if that's probably the live bait still swimming around. And the wind is so still that I'm not even spot locked, and it's like I'm not moving one iota. It's like not even a millimeter. It's too still for my liking. Oh, it's hot. Okay, what I want to do now is just grab a little bit more footage for the video I'm making. Yeah, it's a hot day. So what I'm going to show now, this is the temperature, the running temperature of my system, and you want it to be, I would say, not more than 80 degrees Celsius. So let's have a look here. Share screen. Window. This one. Why is that not working? Share. See, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I could do the 2 camera angles, and then also if you wanted to do like giveaways and stuff, do the random generator kind of thing, the randomizer, and share the screen that way. But that screen that I'm showing now is the running temperature of my streaming system. I think it was running at about 70 something there Celsius. But this little computer can go up to max temperature of 105 degrees Celsius. So as long as it's reasonably below that the whole time. And again, it's a super hot day out here. Like I said, the heat index is supposed to be 110 today. It's approaching that actually. So if it's hanging around 70 degrees, I'm super happy with that. Like I said, I've used it during the day now twice for 6 hours at a time, and then the other night, the whole night as well. And it was running at around an average of 60 degrees Celsius the whole time. So I think it works pretty well. That's the main challenge for something like this, is it's keeping it cool. Oh, hey, Jody. Hope you're having a good day. So that's how it works with StreamYard. So that shared screen is still being shared, and then I can add it to stage or remove it as I wish. So it's there in the background. Okay, that's cool. Maybe up to 7 awesome people watching. That's super cool. Even though this was, again, like I said, an impromptu little live stream that we did up here this morning, and I thought I was going to get a bite way earlier than this. Nothing's actually happened. So when I say get a bite, I mean actually get the first bite. But hopefully within the next hour, which is how long we're going to still be out here, we'll get at least one fish and not get skunked for the first time on this lake. Is something in there with the camera? It's still working. Can someone tell me if the stream is still okay? Because I heard it can make like a beeping noise. I wonder if that's not a. I know these have never overheated before. But I wonder if it's not maybe like a overheating warning that's popped on. Yeah, so the maximum temperature that this system has reached today so far is 74 degrees Celsius, which is 30 degrees below the maximum. And that's pretty good. So if it hasn't like peaked anywhere over 80, that's really good. And I know that's all nerdy technical stuff, but I'm still capturing some footage here for myself for my video. Dustin saying good morning to Jody. That's not going to work. I want to tilt this camera down a little bit more and then see how the angle looks when I stick it out further. Let's see. Should be pretty cool. There we go. The only fish I'm catching right now is snags. Oh, there's a bite. Come on, take it. This rod's got the bluegill head on the back here. Maybe you saw in the camera view there the takedown, or at least a sharp take. That was officially the first proper bite of the morning. I've got a feeling it's very shallow here because when I pulled this rod up just now when it was snagged, the bait literally flew to the surface. So it can't be more than, it's 4 feet. It's shallow, but not super shallow. Oh. If you've never fished from a kayak before and you get that solid take at the back and the whole kayak vibrates, it's such a cool experience. You can try it at least once if you haven't done that. It's something that you'll never experience fishing on a boat. It's unique to the kayak. Jody's asking if I travel and do kayak tournaments. Yes, I just haven't in a while. But the next upcoming one will be on June 15th, which is the day of that tournament, which I'm probably not going to take part in. So I'm going to head up to a lake north of Dallas. I think it's called Ray Roberts. And it's an in-person event for the North Texas Kayak Catfishing group or club. And yeah, it'll be my first proper kayak fishing tournament in quite a long time. And then most of the other times it's the online series that some of the guys host. So either fish out here, basically fish anywhere. But if I'm not doing a live stream, then I'm pretty much open to traveling anywhere to fish, especially that I'm not worried about like cell signal and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't fished a proper tournament in quite a while, or at least a in-person get-together kayak tournament. And those lakes up there, Ray Roberts, I think Louisville, those places, that's where Chris Gamble fishes a lot. So Algato Azul, his channel. So it'd be cool maybe one time to go out there and meet up with him and maybe go out on the boat as well. Come on, fishy. You can do it. Well, if anything, it's really peaceful out here this morning. Even the fish are taking a day. Dustin's asking, what am I using for bait? Is that what you? Yes. So I have the two little live bluegills on the front two rods here, and then I caught one bigger bluegill and the headpieces on the back rod. I have leftover chicken breast as well that's sitting here in the little cooler. I haven't tried any yet. Maybe as a last resort, I'll stick a chunk on and see what happens. But yeah, you would think the little live baits would work. Your guess would be chicken. You guessed wrong. So Dustin, these are the original big cat fibers that I got, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago, and been using them ever since. It's the black one at the back here, and then the 2 white ones I actually got recently to replace, well, not replace, but I wanted to just have the same rods all around, and I prefer the big cat fever, so I swapped out the Catfish Sumo Master Series 2.0. I think that's the one that I had. I had 2 of those. Still got them at home, and friends and neighbors and stuff use that if we do a bit of bang fishing. But yeah, I really like the action of these OG big cat fevers. And these are the ones with the cork handles because they seem to always be out of stock with the EVA foam. Yes, respect to everyone who made that ultimate sacrifice and couldn't come home and didn't come home and ensured that we have the freedoms that we have today to be able to do this. Dustin's asking if that's a Minn Kota trolling motor. No, this is the Motor Guide XI3. And they do a 30-inch shaft or 36-inch shaft model, which is specifically for kayaks and maybe for small John boats and stuff like that. So that's the one I've got up here. And that's what most of the kayak guys are using. Some have gone up to a 24-volt model. This is the 12-volt. So 24-volt, obviously if you have high current rivers and stuff like that, it would be pretty useful. But for my needs, the 12-volt is more than enough. Probably the best thing, well, I won't say the best thing, but one of the best things I bought for the kayak since I've started this thing is getting the motor. It's a total game changer. Being able to spot lock, obviously, and just getting to spots without having to paddle or pedal. It's one of the, when I had the Hobie, I would have the pedals with me and maybe use that to get a bit of exercise and save the battery if I was doing a long distance run somewhere. But in those days, I also had just the 55 amp hour battery powering it, so there was the risk power at some stage. But since I got the 100 amp hour, I can sort of go away without worrying too much about it. And then also try and launch most of the time close to where I'd like to fish, so I can spend obviously more time fishing and not traversing the lake to try and get to the spots. Because the max speed with this hull and this kayak, and typical for most kayaks, is around 4.5 to 5 miles an hour, sometimes maybe even a bit less than that. So you can imagine if you've got a run of 8 miles, it's easily a 2-hour trip back and forth. Well, 4 hours total. So sometimes it just makes sense to figure out the launch spots pretty well. Just plan it correctly. And then up front, as a sort of as an insurance policy inside the gear pod, that's what they call it for the Nuku kayak, there's my broken down paddle. So it's one of those paddles that you stick together, clip in. So all 3 or 4 pieces are actually in there and nicely tucked away. So it's really only there in case of emergency. Let's say I ran out of power or something happened to the motor, then at least I've got a paddle that I can take out and head back home. I've started forward with this kayak, and I'll tell you what, it's not the most fun in the world to paddle this thing. It's not the worst either, but it's still not a fun time. Stupid stick. Get off. And then these front reels, let me switch to the other camera angle so I can show you. I think everyone's seen them before, but they're the, let's see here, do this. Still got to get used to switching between the views. Solo, there we go. This is the Piscifun Alias 400, so it's that bigger one they make. And it's purple as well, so it's a nice, it's got like some sparkly stuff as well, so it looks pretty cool. I didn't realize they were going to be as big as they are and quite a bit heavier than the 300 series, but I like them. I just need to catch me a fish because they so far still haven't got the skunk off. Pretty cool. That's the thing with, at least for me with kayak fishing, because I'm suspending most of the time, and sometimes I'll throw them out the back and drag them, but I don't need that much line. So having a round bait reel is not really needed because I'm not throwing long baits out there. And these 400 reels are, they got a pretty decent amount of line on there, even though I've got 40-pound mono. So they do the job. I've just been a fan of this low profile thing. Dustin saying he likes the low profile reels. Oh, you say there's a Ancient Mariner Ocean Tycoon. I've never heard of that one. I need to check that out. Is it recent or has it been on the market for a while? Because I've never heard that name before. I know Ancient Mariner, but I've never heard about the Ocean Tycoon. I thought they just made the normal round reels. I've actually got 4 of these now, so I still need to replace my 2 back rods with them. So all 4 rods are the same, all 4 reels are the same. I like that consistency. But also my casking capstan reels, they've become a bit dated, and it was just time for replacing them. Okay, so the Ocean Tycoon came out last year. Okay, that's probably why I haven't heard of it. If I say I watched almost nothing about fishing during last year, that's an understatement. And what size is that reel, Dustin? So these, because the Cat's King is the 300, and then this one's the 400. Oh, it is hot. 30 more minutes of this. I can actually drop my baits a little bit further down here. I think it's like 12 feet. And maybe check if that bait is still on the back hook. Yep. Oh yeah, here's the shade. Okay, yeah, Dustin. So that I think that's comparable to casking then, in terms of like line capacity and stuff, and then gear ratio as well. So that lower, I think anything below 7 is pretty good, at least for more torque. You don't want the speed. These ones, I think on the 400, I'm getting 200 yards of 0.6 line. So I've got the Berkeley Trilene big game 40 pounds, and that's like 0.6. And then the gear ratio on these, I think also like you get 2 models. You get the quicker one, and then was 6.2 or 6.3 to 1, and the other one was 7 point something. There's a whole bunch of gar busting as well. I wonder if there's alligator gar on this lake. Normally I would catch them on Lake Houston, and then the San Jacinto River that flows through Lake Houston and then down to the coast. Massive things. But so far, these ones are like spotted gar and maybe some long-nosed gar. That's another fun thing to catch on a kayak. The only problem is getting the hook out. Talking about getting the hook out, the other night when we had the Midnight Madness, that first fish I caught, the decent sized one, the 10-pounder, the hook like got stuck in its, I want to say gullet, but it's almost like the tongue thing. So it was like pretty deep in, and it was stuck in there, and it was actually bleeding before I even tried to start taking the hook out. And eventually, when I did get the hook out and got the fish back in the water, obviously I had tons of blood and stuff on the deck here. And you'll see if you go back in the video, I had my bottle of water and just rinsing it off. But then you actually see in the footage, and I think it was the same fish, and it sort of came swimming on the surface next to me here. So I hope it survived. I don't know if it damaged it maybe a little bit too much. Well, temperature's a little bit out here as I'm heading out now to the main lake because the wind's blowing, or at least there's a breeze blowing this way from the front. Out there on the little cove, it was quite stuffy. There's a drone view. It's almost directly above. Well, now you can see at least, well, you've seen it already, but you can see the whole layout of the kayak already. So I sort of try to think it out properly and have storage space up front, obviously with the gear pod. That's where the camera goes. The fish finder sits on top of the gear pod, so it's all built in there. And then, like I've shown you before, you can swing around in this kayak, which is pretty nice. So it's really circular, so I can also sort of rock back and forward. I won't do it too much, but sort of rock back, up and down, not going to fall in. And then can swing completely around as well. And set out the back like this. And as I did that, My quad started cramping. Yeah, so the cooler serves as is just behind that, and then there's quite a little bit of space for anything else that I might want to store if I needed to. There's plenty of space on this boat. The next level will be having VR goggles, and then sit like this, and then be able to see what's going on in the front and on the screen and stuff. What do you say? Oh, Dustin's saying that's a great view if you don't want the folks to know where you're fishing. Yep, that's for sure. And just to be off camera a little bit as well. That was one of the things with kayak fishing and live streaming from a kayak is like the traditional view is to have that camera up front there on your face the whole time, and it can get a bit exhausting. So just being able to switch to another view and take a break is pretty cool too. Just recharge a bit and come back on the main camera. Because the folks on boats and bank and stuff, a lot of times the camera's just focused on the rods, and you're sort of behind the camera just doing your own thing. Doing it this way, there's sort of nowhere to hide. And I think the reason why my computer is running a little bit hotter than it has before. Okay, it is a hot day, and that's a given. But I'm also recording in Streamyard in the background, so it's not just streaming; it's streaming and it's recording to the hard drive. So it's doing a little bit of extra work to get all that done, and that's maybe why it's running 10 degrees hotter than usual. So I was just checking it now, and it peaked at around 80, but that's still 25 Celsius from or below the maximum temperature that you can handle. For those in the chat that do the giveaway things with the randomizer, what randomizer do you use, or what is the website for that? Because that's something I still want to get set up here as well at some stage. I have a whole bunch of old stickers to still give away. At least I think I do. I saw them when we moved house. I saw them and I put them somewhere. I just need to find where they are. There was like a whole stack of stickers. Dustin saying that you use the giveaway tool through Streamyard. Okay, so it has its own. So where do you find that? Is that under? Hold on. So I'm going to get my mouse here. So is that under brand or banners or something? It's not banners. Brand. There's the music, video clips, logo. And I do have like a pro StreamYard account. Oh, it's another site. Okay. Well, if you don't mind shooting me the link to that, I want to test it out sometime. Man, I can't believe the fish are so quiet today. This is pretty cool. So Josh Thompson is saying, you got me live in the bait store. That is so cool. Hello to everyone in the bait store. And where's the Josh? It's probably my own fault that I'm not getting any fish because I haven't used chicken. At least I normally at least have one rod that's got a chunk of chicken, and then the other rods will have some proper bait. But I haven't, and that's maybe what's going on. I've sort of broken the spell. The people on the boats in front of me think I'm completely mad in my head talking to myself here. We've got 8 amazing people watching on this Memorial Day. For stopping by, and haven't caught anything yet, and I do not have much time left to fish. I'll do another, it was going to be 10 minutes, but I'll do another 20 minutes or so, because I'm actually heading back towards my launch area very, very slowly and just dragging these baits along, or suspend dragging them, drifting them, and just hoping that anything will bite along the way, and we'll maybe get a fish and make this a fishing live stream and not just a pleasure cruise. Because I actually started off this morning, I was going to just record a traditional style fishing video, and it's probably a good thing I went live, because there's no fishing video with no fish. At least the live stream, there's other stuff going on, and we can talk and see what's up. Right, Dustin's saying if you pull the giveaway tool when you are live, it will allow you to select that live for the giveaway, and you can share that screen. Okay, that makes sense. I'm guessing it then connects to your YouTube account, so it obviously picks up the keywords and stuff that people are typing in the chat. It's funny because way back, even when that was a thing, I didn't do it that way. I was a little bit funnier with it, and I had one of those spinning color wheels, and I had a wheel on the kayak and would spin that with the numbers and stuff. That actually came from the very first Whisker Derby, Dustin. And nowadays, when you see Kevin and Brian and everybody sharing the other channels on each other's channel for everyone to see and see what's happening there, I think I was the first one to do that at that very first Whisker Derby. And again, unfortunately, because my old channel got deleted, well, I deleted it, so all that stuff is gone. But I did that with an iPad, and I had running on my home computer, using the iPad to remote desktop to that from the bank where I was watching from, and then I was able to do like a whole live show and share things as if I was sitting at home in front of the PC. So that's actually where this all started, and it just evolved now to making it a little bit more fit for purpose and get it done like in a more professional setting like this. But yeah, that was fun. Like everyone was shocked and like, what kind of wizardry are you doing with sharing other people's channels on your own one? Yeah, I remember Kevin was asking like how I did that, and I remember we had a quick chat at one stage and just said to him, it's not very difficult. It actually looks surprisingly not bad out there. I see one boat's just launched here from the marina and he's on his way out, and there's one jet ski, at least what I can see. But yeah, there's a heck of a lot more lake out there. It must be the coolest thing to have one of these houses here on the lake that have their own little boat slips, little docks. I would literally have every rod I have in the house, I would have it in the water or lines in 24 hours a day. And then every single moment that I had to get out on the boat and go fishing, I would just hop. And here, every single has their boat parked and they're not out on the water. Crazy. If I had bank rods out on a house like that, I'd have like not bells, make like little electronic buzzers, and have them wirelessly connected to some alarm system in the house. So if you're busy cooking, you get a huge fright and go running outside to get the fish. Hello, downtown Ernie Brown. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I see that you say you've liked and shared. Any luck? Nope. Not. I've had one, what I think was a catfish bite on my back rod there. It's there's a bluegill head on the back. And then way earlier on, when I first dropped this line with these two little live baits that I have, little small bluegills, as soon as I dropped it down, I got a hit from what I think was a bass. And other than that, that's it. It's been probably the slowest day I've ever had. Well, not ever. The slowest day I've had in probably 2 years. Ernie says he can't. Don't worry about that, Ernie. I'm actually going to close up shop pretty soon. I'm right now heading back to my boat launch area, which is around the corner. And then I'm going to go home and relax, have something to drink, make some lunch for the family, get a fire going, and do all that good stuff. Got a couple of ribeyes I want to put on, and then some South African sausage. We call it boerewors. So if you ever find a South African store in your town or city, check that and go try some boerewors if you've never tried it. It's really good stuff. Best way to cook it is on the over the coals, over the wood fire. You get that nice charcoal taste or fire taste. He only says it's been storming a lot the past 2 days. Yeah, I've been watching. What's that guy's name? Ryan Hall, y'all, on YouTube, and there's some of those other storm chaser channels. It's crazy out there. Like the last couple of weeks have just been insane, like tornado type weather day after day. So hopefully everybody is safe, and wherever you are, it's not as bad as what I've seen from some of it. The only thing getting me today is the bright sunshine and all the crazy people out there on the jet skis and pleasure boats. Actually went looking at boats the other day, not to buy immediately, but maybe sometime in the future, because I got a new vehicle, and then to the dealership to get the official touch put on for it. And then the Yamaha dealer was like just a quick short walking distance away. So while I was waiting, I just went down there and then had a look at a couple of pontoons, because we've been interested in getting a pontoon about a year ago, just more than a year ago. Put down the security deposit, but then the interest rate was just way too high to commit to that. So we decided not to go for that. But then there was a really nice Sea Arc that was there. But again, like 40 grand. I'm just not in a position right now to pull the trigger on something like that. But that's the dream. For now, this is my Sea Arc. Doing it like this on the kayak, it's fun as a solo sport, but then when I get my kids like really involved in catching catfish properly and stuff, then a boat just makes sense. Get the whole family out. I've taken the kids a couple times on the kayak with me. It's not the most comfortable experience, but it works. I've actually had the whole family out before, where I had my daughter sitting here on the cooler at the back, and then I took out the gear pod here in the front and those sort of things, and then my wife and son were sitting on the deck enjoying the waves splashing over them. And we had the Honda on the back as well. It was actually a fun day. So it is doable. So this kayak can take 2 adults and 2 kids pretty easily. So what's funny is behind me, there's a boat here on my left-hand side coming up, and it sounds like they're speaking Afrikaans, which is my second language from South Africa. So when they get closer, we'll see if that is the case, and then maybe say hi. It's a very obvious language when I hear it sort of in the background very quickly. It's not, it's like Polish or something. Definitely can't speak Polish. Getting into some traffic here now. Join the highway. Oh, it is ridiculously hot right now. Let's see what the temperature is. The water temperature earlier on was 88. It's 87 now over here. That's high. And the weather right now says that it's 91 but that's actual. And then there's the heat index, which they said was going to reach like 110 today. All right, but I think I am going to, hold on, what's happening? Oop. So I think what I'm going to do is start heading home and go have lunch, because that's what I had planned to do. So the idea was not to be out here the whole day catching nothing. So I'm going to say goodbye and cheers for now, and we'll probably come out again maybe sometime in the week. I want to do a bit of nighttime shallow popping for flatheads. So it's sort of like a South African style method that they use down there for African sharptooth catfish, and it's really a successful method. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if these fish will react the same way as those fish, but it's something worth trying, and it'll be cool to do that at night. So I'll probably come out at some stage during the week, maybe do a live for that. And yeah, I want to go home now and get some lunch going, and then finish the video that I started with today, and it's almost complete for this whole setup that you've seen today with the multi angles and the way I can control it from the seat here with my phone. So get all that done. Yeah, and just thank you for everybody that's joined. I know we still have 6 people. Great. Oh, we just got a bite. Hold on. So just give me. Let's have 1 second of waiting here. We just got our second take of the day, or hit. We'll get it in a second. Murphy's Law is that fish has just swum away and gone and had lunch somewhere else. Not interested. Which is crazy, because that's a live bait as well. So they're hitting it and just leaving it. Anyway, if I catch a fish from here to my launch spot, I'll put it as a picture, as like a community post on YouTube, and you can see it. But other than that, for now, thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Oh, and before I say goodbye officially, hi Dan. you came in just as I'm ending here on my skunk, and I'm gonna blame you. Everybody, blame Dan, and it's his fault. Anyway, see everybody. Take care.